is Shop Talk, baby. This is the show where it's okay to be you. We're talking from Yale to jail and from the church house to the pimp house. Nothing's excluded on Shop Talk. So if you don't have a phone, I suggest you borrow one. Call in and voice your opinion live every Saturday morning from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Yeah, that's right, 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Don't forget to Shop Talk with your girl, because right here, we keeps it real. Good morning to you lovely people. I'm so happy that you lovely people joined me this morning. So good morning, Roogle, Nick, Tamron. How y'all doing?
Good morning.
Hey, yes. We are on the air. I missed y'all last week. We had so much to talk about, but Roogle, I know you got us covered, right? You got us covered? Look,
he's still on mute.
He's still on mute. We got there we go.
Hey man.
Listen, last week I had so much to talk to you about.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, you got to be freaking kidding me. So we going to start with this real quick. Roogle, I'm going to ask for you to kind of start this show off. Oh yeah, let me let you guys know. If you want to support the channel, if you want to donate to the channel, feel free to do so. The information is below. All right, and everything is at Shop Talk with Mel, PayPal, Cash App, everything is Shop Talk with Mel, so no shenanigans, okay? But if you don't see my face, somebody might have sat there and tried to duplicate me, which is impossible. Or stole my picture. You know they be stealing pictures and stuff on the Facebook, talking about they done went with you or something, talking about they dated you. All right, Roogle, let's jump into this real quick. The debate, briefly, go.
Which one?
The first one and the second one. The first one. All right, go to the first one.
The first presidential debate between Joe Biden and President Donald Trump was like really ridiculous. It was just a lot of like Donald Trump is interfering with questions, is not letting Joe Biden answer anything, and just ridiculous. And Joe Biden did a little bit of it himself, but I think it was at the point where it was just like, if you ain't gonna respect me, why should I respect you? And it was just, there was key moments where Biden was able to get his point across, and that's what I think Trump didn't want him to do, was to express his thoughts, to really have a true debate on what those issues were. So he just pulled, well, if I can't battle with you, I'm going to meddle with you. You know what I mean? And it was just like, it was a poor showing by what an American president should do, especially a sitting president. We're not talking about two people who've never been president vying for the seat. He's a sitting president. And it was just a poor showing.
Okay, when I first went on and paid attention, I'll put it that way, I heard them talking about he was talking about Biden's son. And I'm sitting there and I see it, and I have never, ever, in the history of presidency, in my years of being on this earth, heard a debate talk about cocaine. I said, am I watching New Jack City or the presidential debate? I didn't understand what was going on. I was like, where Nino Brown at? What's about to happen? Like, what is going on? So when you say that Biden didn't take it, well, let me put it this way. I don't want to put words in your mouth. Are you saying Biden didn't take the opportunity that was given to him to state what he planned on doing instead of calling him? Let me put it this way. He, in turn, fought the fight that President Trump was fighting, calling him a clown, and he got ticked off. Don't talk about nobody's children now. That's when you got a problem. Go ahead.
But he just called him out for what he was. You know what I mean? It was like, hey, you acting like a straight up clown. Like,
I thought that was respectful though.
That
part a clown is respectful.
Is it?
You can be called a whole bunch of other things, but a clown, I thought that was fitting because he got mad jokes, and I be looking like, is this for real? Like, am I at a circus? Is this our new normal? Like, what's really happening?
Well, see, the thing is he's so used to just going off the top of his head, just doing crazy stuff at his debates that he just felt like I'm this is what I give my base when no one else is really paying attention and looking. I'm going to do that same thing. I mean, not that people ain't looking, people are looking, but I'll tell you like this: I've never seen one of his rallies. I've only seen clips of it. And usually the stuff in the clips is so far from presidential that I couldn't imagine what the rest of it is like.
Listen, clowns make me laugh. And I'm like, okay, he could have said something different, but he didn't. But some of his stuff it's like, is this for real? Like, am I on candid camera? For those of you who don't know, what is it? Am I being punked? That's it. That's the new candid camera.
Right.
Am I being punked? Because this is non-presidential. Now, is that the issue that he appears to be non-presidential with the people? When you think of conservatives, like in my mind, society has actually molded my mind to say when you think of conservatives that all the I's are dotted, all the T's are crossed. But in his case, he just like, that's me.
I just think that this is how I feel about it. I'll tell you like this. I think some people are just going to be ride or die, right? In America, we have this whole thing where we're like, this is like, for example, sports teams, right? I know some people who play professional. I know they get an actual check from teams, but fans sometimes act like they on the payroll. I'm just going to tell you. I'm just going to put it out straight up like that, right? Ain't get $1 from being a fan. You know what I mean? Like, it's all, and so I just say, like, it's that mentality that we have. I mean, probably everywhere people are like that. Like, this is my team, ride or die, no matter if they wrong or not. I could talk about that team that wear black and yellow when they had that one quarterback controversy. And, like, Cass was still like, I'm still rolling. I'm still rolling with them. But, you know what I'm saying?
Innocent until proven guilty. I feel attacked. What about you, Nick?
Hey, I think all three of y'all Steeler fans, ain't y'all?
Exactly.
Yeah.
The shade of it.
Listen, win one game in 30 years, and now you want to start attacking people.
You want to start talking mess. That's why you're going to lose the next 3 games.
All I'm saying is that, like, the thing is sometimes we got to back away from the things that we want to have a close association because it feels right? So for y'all, it feels right to be a Steelers fan. I don't know why, but it does.
Okay, Brownie. But guess what? But you're doing the same thing because you're a Browns fan, ride or die. Y'all done lost whatever. Some people just put up with stuff.
To my defense, I have not watched a football game this season. The only last football game I probably watched was the Super Bowl.
Okay, who's your team?
I've been paying attention.
Who's your team?
What?
Who's your team?
Who's my team? Northside Knights. That's my team.
The Little League team. The Little League team.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I just think go ahead with your point, and then I'll.
No, but I was just going to say, like, a lot of what's happening now is that, like, you have a surge of people who looked at that debate and they really had to come to terms on what they was going to do. To me, if you viewed that debate, you should have your mind decided on who you want for president. Either you rolling with the guy you rolling with, but there was nothing that came from that debate
period.
Looking at it objectively, that would have been like, I was on the fence, but now I'm truly with Trump. You know what I mean? There was nothing like, because you figure like this, it's like if that's him at 10, what is he at 5 when he's talking about like these other countries and leaving deals and all that kind of stuff? Like, and it's so many people.
Well, 10 is the highest. Well, 10 is the highest. And
yeah.
I will say, and he stayed on 10. And I'm going to bring it back a little bit. I'm really, football, I'm a football fan, but basketball is my sport. And I looked at it. It's funny that you should bring that up. I looked at it as, because I've never actually heard him debate as far as like what he's going to do for the country. Even when he called her Crooked Hillary, I got air quotes, lovely people. When he debated her, it was more of an attack. And see, like with basketball, what do? You want that other team to play your game. And what happened, what I witnessed was Biden going into playing his game. So it ended up being like back and forth instead of telling me the issues that I need to hear. So when you say there was nothing, even though you wanted to elaborate, that you got from the debate, I have to say, even though who knows me, vote for who you want to vote for. They know where I'm at. But neither side did anything. I think the vice president brought some issues out, the vice president debate. So let's go to the vice president debate, which is more current. Go ahead, Roogle. You got the floor.
Okay, so Mike Pence, he was debating against Kamala Harris, and it was a more civil debate. The one thing I didn't really like about what was going on was that, okay, I like the point where it was like, okay, if she got asked a question, he got a chance to rebuttal, and she might have got a chance to rebuttal. However, there was points where if he felt so strongly about her last rebuttal, he would be like, well, let me first answer the first question in my second question, right? And to me, this is a ploy, right? Because some of it needed to be addressed, some of it really didn't. But the issue was he was asked a question about healthcare, and she flat out answered it. And so would he? No. I'm sorry. She had a question before that, and then she had the last piece of it. And then he came in saying, when it was a healthcare question.
That's what I'm saying. I thought it was a healthcare question.
And he talked about that whole question prior and never addressed anything about the Affordable Care Act, about how they were going to keep people, with insurance, how they were going to keep people with pre-existing conditions on insurance. None of that. And
that's important.
That's important. It was such an important question, especially during the age of COVID, that it made no sense for me I see why he openly avoided it, because they don't have their plan is just to remove the Affordable Care Act, but they haven't produced another plan. The whole thing, remember Trump was like, I'm going to have Trump care and all that kind of stuff, blah, blah, blah. Nothing has come from that party about sustaining any plan that's going to bring Americans better health. Nothing's come from it. And then the thing is, the one thing we do have in place, they want to eliminate. And it's like, for what? Like, I know there are people upset about, well, if I don't have insurance and I got to pay a penalty and all that kind of stuff, blah, blah, blah. And it's kind of like, well, you blindly pay your car insurance.
Now, that's true.
Blindly pay it. You know what I mean? Because it's something you got to have. And the unfortunate thing about America when it comes to this issue is that one catastrophic health event should not, and I will not say catastrophic. I mean, let's say, I'll give you a good example. You get your, in this area, get your gallbladder removed. It's like $35,000. $35,000 for that surgery. You know what I mean? It ain't a life or death thing, but it can bring you some, it could be a life or death.
Some comfort. It could bring you some comfort.
But the issue is like, really? You know what I'm saying? So like an event like that, if you had no health care coverage, and even if you did have coverage, if you come away from that, you got some poor coverage, you got to pay $24,000. That's a lot of money. Not to mention, if you start getting into things with like a lot of severe treatment that you got to get, a lot of, intense treatment you got to get and everything like that, we're in a real bad place right now. And the sitting office refused to answer that question.
Okay. I want to ask a younger person, college student. Tamron, did you watch the debates at all?
I did for a little bit, but I didn't get a chance to fully watch the whole thing.
Okay. What interests you most about wanting to watch the debate?
Well, honestly, as a college student, you got to look at those things. You have to see what the president is going to say and how it could possibly impact, my generation, and the generations going on and on and on. Because it could either be good or bad. So I figured, let me watch it. Let me see what they're both going to say. If one says something bad, then I'll stick around for it to see if it'll turn better. But if it doesn't end up turning better, then it's like, oh, well, I already know my decision then.
Okay. So can I ask you, I don't want to ask you who you're voting for, but have you made your decision prior to watching a debate?
Yes.
Okay. So did the debate help you with your decision?
It really did help me with my decision. It enlightened
did it like
me a little
seal,
bit
put
more.
the seal on the deal?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what part did you see of the debate?
What part was it? I did see the part where, they were going back and forth, Trump interfering and Biden, doing the same thing as well, calling him a clown, et cetera, et cetera. There were some other parts that I seen. I just can't remember it at the moment. But they, on one hand, they both made pretty good points here and there, but then there was always, that interrupting and stuff, and obviously that distracts a lot of people.
Okay, I would agree. The distractions for me turned me off. They turned me off because I said, if you can't even, and this is just my opinion, not the opinion of those that are on Shop Talk with Mel at the moment. My thoughts are, if you can't listen to your opponent, how are you going to listen to the country? So what I was seeing, you had some that were saying, because me, I'm going to check and see what the people saying. Afterwards, they said control. And all I saw was a cosign to a dictatorship. And I said, this guy's used to, this is being this way. It's going to be that way. I don't care what you have to say. If I don't agree with you, I'm not listening. How are you the people's president when you won't even adhere to people? Go ahead, Nick. What's your thoughts on it?
Because he wants to be a dictator. He wants to run this country or turn this country into a dictatorship. I mean, and the sad part about it is the Trumpeteers, they don't care about any of that. They don't care about him interrupting. All they care about is Trump. And I'm not going to say all of the races, because we do have some black folks that are hell-bent on voting for him. Why, I don't know, because he's run this country like he ran his raggedy behind businesses. And it's like, I don't know. I already know who I'm voting for.
Okay.
I don't know if he'll do much. He can't do, put it this way, he can't do no worse. Lord, please, he can't do no worse than the current person in the office. You see, I'm trying to be nice because I want to say something else.
I want you to be nice.
Joe cannot be any worse. He really can't. He can't. Lord Jesus, please, I'm just pleading on the blood of Jesus.
So you're just taking your chance. You're taking your chances. Now,
exactly.
I'm going to shift this back to Tamron because in 2016, there was a lot of people who voted for Harambe. Remember the gorilla? They said he was attacking the baby, but I felt that he was protecting the baby from the people. And there were people that voted for Harambe. Now I see your generation saying that they're going to vote for the fly. The fly that was on Pence's head. Now, go ahead.
That made me think a lot about like Pence's health, because if you got flies running around your head, there's got to be something. You got to be decaying on the inside or something.
Okay. What's your? Listen. I was sitting there and the fly took over. The fly was a distraction. You think RBG sent the fly, Roogle?
It goes to RBG.
Sent the fly.
No,
be like.
Did y'all see the meme with her? She said she sent it.
Oh, that's funny. Go ahead, Roogle. What'd you say? Maybe it's the hairspray. Maybe he had a lot of hairspray and Aquanet. That's the 80s hairspray.
Aquanet. No, I just, it was just, I don't know. I mean, it was, the fly thing was silly, but the funny thing about the fly incident was that night, the Democratic Party or Biden's campaign, they started to sell fly swatters that says no flies but the truth. No flies. I forgot what it was like. No, it was a thing like it was truth over flies is what's going to be on the fly.
That night they did it. They hurry up and put it out.
When it happened, they started. They and this is the thing: $10 a piece for one of these fly swatters. That I believe it was that night they had sold 150,000 of them, $150,000 worth of them.
Wow.
The fly is capitalizing. See, and that's why I wanted to ask Tamron, how would you feel? How do you feel about that? Have you heard any of your peers saying they're going to vote for the fly and write in the fly instead of actually voting on the candidate?
Hell, I mean, no, because I don't get no peers like that.
I'm talking to the youngster. I'm talking to the college student.
I'm like, shoot.
I don't know if many of my peers have watched the debate, and if so, they probably would have said that. They would have said, "I'll vote for the fly."
See, a lot of honesty.
That's how we end up getting stuck with the man that we got stuck with now, because everybody was against Hillary because they don't want no woman president, and they didn't want to vote for Trump, but that's how he got in, because you had so many people just writing Harambe and just voting, just being stupid. Basically, y'all was just being stupid, and it is what it is. That's my opinion and no one else's. You were being stupid, and then you have people. I saw on Facebook yesterday, a relative of mine had posted like one of the ballots. I think it was in Iowa State. They had the birthday party, Kanye as the doggone president at the top of the list, and then some other names. Like, really? Come on, y'all. This is serious.
It really is serious.
Life.
It really is serious, and it is our life.
This is we're depending on a president that's going to do good and do what they're supposed to do. We're gambling with our life, and you guys are playing thinking this is a joke or I'm not going to vote. This is your life, because we could potentially get stuck with this man again. And you see, it has started a race war, and it's going to possibly get worse.
Okay, segue. Well, we're going to segue right into the next part, because she's getting heated up. We don't want her on 10. She get ready to go and take off. If you were the president, how do you feel about the Second Amendment? Now, I did see an interview with Trump, and he was talking about how there won't be a Second Amendment. He was like, we won't have any guns. When you say the race war, we know that he was all about the guns. Totally. If you were the president today, how do you feel about the guns? What would you vote for to take? Because he's saying that Biden would take the guns away, which is not true. If Kamala came on and cleared that up on the vice president debate. But I'm going to go with you, Nick. Yay or nay?
Would I take the guns away? No, but I would definitely have stricter rules.
Gun control? Okay. Go ahead, Roogle.
Gun control all the way.
Roogle?
I wouldn't take guns away. I mean, because the issue, just the other day, it was a shooting down like literally down the street from my house, right? Mm-hmm. And the thing is that like,
I don't know where you live at, but okay, I'm listening.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, it was a shooting, right? I mean, like, I didn't. Somebody told me they watched the news, blah blah blah, this and that, right? But anyway, the point was that like people having the guns don't stop people. Not having guns don't stop people from acting irresponsibly. The issue is that when they act irresponsible, they put everybody at risk, right? I mean, you got people who are just doing crazy things with them, going into schoolhouses, shooting up neighborhoods and all kinds of dumb stuff about it, and it's like, well, how do you, we have a problem here where we have we have a violence issue. If it's guns, if it's knives, it's whatever it is, it's just how people tend to treat each other. I'm not saying I'm not saying that having limitations on guns wouldn't help. It probably would help, but it's just that, I mean, like some of the stuff this is happening.
Who's that?
I don't know.
Oh, tell them Shop Talk with Mel said hi.
Yeah. Some of the stuff that's just happening is just like it's just crazy. Especially when the thing I hate about it is when you'll have like the president and this is somewhat something that we need to look at closely. He'll bring up what's happening in Chicago, right? And Chicago is off the chain, right? Let's just put it like that. They like just the other day, I think it was something like crazy. They were like, and I don't know what the number of deaths was, but I do believe it was over like 4,000. It was something like ridiculous, right? But the other thing is that they're not really trying to. Like gun control really only comes up in a conversation when it's a suburban school to get shot up, right? And I'm not saying that it doesn't need to come up in those conversations, but I'm saying that like the steps that government is making to keep people safe in these environments is not really happening. And there has to be some deep-seated other issues that need to be fixed before we can get to a point of like guns not truly causing the harm that they cause, right? I know responsible gun owners, they have like the what do you call them?
Cabinets?
The safes and all that kind of stuff, and that sort of thing. And then there's just people who I just, that I see act recklessly with them, but I think though too, some of this stuff that we're talking about, some of these things, it's not like it's like, you remember how it used to be, you watch a, I mean, I hate to say a movie, but just for a conversation.
That's you. Go ahead.
You watch a movie and the people.
You have 2 minutes. You have 2 minutes, Roogle.
Yeah, okay. They're watching movies and they'll have a gun and it's like their agenda is, I'm trying to rob the place. I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to do that. We got people getting shot over your music too loud and I don't like it. You stepped on my shoes. You was in the neighborhood and I didn't think you should be here. Like this crazy stuff.
Or you're black.
Or
you're black. Let's keep it real.
Crazy stuff.
People getting shot because you're black.
Yeah. Well, and I use the term. It's crazy stuff. But it's like, what is making people feel like they have that level to give lethal to give a lethal response to something that they don't even need to respond to once you've called the authorities and you did that part?
That's a good question. All right, Tamron, same question. If you forgot the question, I'll ask it again. Are you for guns or against guns?
I would keep the Second Amendment. Obviously, just like Neek said, stricter rules with it, because there's a lot of younger kids getting a hold of guns much easier than the average adult would if they're trying to get their gun permit, and stuff like that. And just like the recent event with the 17-year-old Kyle, I forgot his last name. He shot 2 people. He was walking all around town with his gun out. The police weren't stopping him at all.
Right.
And it's got to be a lot more stricter than what it is now, because obviously it's almost like they're just handing anybody a gun.
Except the people.
Had that been a black 17, 18-year-old boy, he wouldn't have made it down the block without having a bunch of holes in his body. Let's just keep it real.
Well,
and you have a point, and I will say this too. Even young black men who have guns, who have their CCW
licenses, exactly.
If they see them with the gun, if they get pulled in on charges or something like that, which has nothing to do with the gun, they'll have to sign where they can't carry a weapon. This was legal. I had a CCW. I went to classes and everything. It's not like I'm just out here and I just went and got one. And now you're saying I can never have a gun again because why?
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's very different. Roogle, I want you to go explain the defundment, when they speak of defunding the police department? Can you put it in lay terms?
Well, first of all, Joe Biden isn't saying that at all.
We got that, but I need you to do this part first. Say exactly what when they talk about defunding, how they're making it out to be like, okay, no police at all. But go ahead.
No, I think what's happening with that whole movement is to reallocate monies in a different way, so that like prevention is happening more than those responsive actions that's leaving people dead, right? So for example, if you were going to give this police department, I don't know, I'm just put $100 million, they're saying like, well, 25 million of that should go to like community engagement and whatever they think is the remedy to stop some of these things. But the only remedy truly is to get better officers. Not all officers are bad, but we got a lot that are. When you think about the scale of how these things are just going awry, and some of them, I mean, we can't just say it's all white officers because it's not. We got some black ones that's been doing some very bad things too. So
just to fit in.
Huh?
I said to fit in, to stay on, to keep their job because they're looking at self. And it's like working in corrections. I have seen where you have somebody that comes in and they want to do the right thing, and then they're blackballed within the system. So it's almost like, which way do we go?
And see, that's one of the things they need to tighten up on within the legal system with the police. That should be part of the training. Why are you blackballing? Because they always say one bad apple don't spoil the bunch, but when it comes to police officers, that's a lie. It's spoiling the good ones to the point where they're afraid to open their mouth and say anything because they're afraid of getting harassed within the system and everything else. No, they really need to start with the training. They need extensive training. They need extensive psychological training. They need, just point blank, if you're a racist, they need to interact. Before they even give them the badge, put them in these communities and just see how they act, because sooner or later, your true colors is going to come out.
So you think during the orientation phase?
Yep.
They need to put them out there and see how they respond.
Come out sooner or later. So they really need to do more extensive background checks, psychological checks, put them in communities and things like that to see how they're going to react. And if you see after a while that they're not reacting like they're supposed to, especially with us black people, then you don't have this job. You cannot, not in this community. It's crazy. Then you have those communities that are all for it because it's mostly white. So they're all for it, but they just need to reform all of the whole entire system, period, because it's like I said before, the narrative is not the same when it comes to us, and it has not been, and I don't know if it ever will. We are fighting a losing battle right now. We really are.
I disagree with fighting a losing battle. I think we need to continue to fight. We need to continue to march, because I'm going to be honest with you. The outpour of love and support that I have seen during our COVID times, it gives me hope. And there has been some change. And that's why some people are upset. Some groups of people are upset because people are uniting. And my question, actually, it's not even a question, it's a statement. When you hear somebody say, when they're like Black Lives Matter, and you hear somebody say, no, all lives matter. And then I have to correct them. And I said, here's the deal. We do understand that all lives matter. However, if everybody believed that all lives matter, there would not be a Black Lives Matter. No need for one. If all lives truly matter. Seeing people, why aren't you upset? You're not upset at the injustices, but seeing everybody come together is, to me, that's phenomenal. And it's saying, okay, guess what? Even though we know, like the march in Selma, all that stuff, it wasn't just black people. It was black and white people together. So my thing is, don't just exclude people because they don't look like you. What's that saying? All skin folk ain't kinfolk, because it's your people that will sit there and be put in a place for their own personal gain. I won't call them coons. You heard it. I'll call them Agent Chaos. That's what they are. They're Agent Chaos because they come in to infiltrate and to mix things up for their own personal gain. And when you mentioned earlier, you were talking about how some black Republicans, you choose whatever you choose who you want to choose. You vote for whoever you want to vote for. Decisions, and you make the best decision for you. We hear that often, but we have the tendency to condemn people who don't agree with us. And that's what we have to watch. Because you hear, I know everybody, when you vote, what do they say? Vote for who you want to vote for. Make the best decision for you. But what happens is people will come in, and when you make that decision, I am a Democrat, I'll put it out there. But when you make that decision for you, some people are like, no, I want you to vote the way that I want to vote. So is it really make the best decision for you or make the decision for us? You know what I mean? So we have to just watch that. And you guys already know everybody has a voice. Everybody has an opinion. And I am for everybody exercising their right to vote and choosing who they feel is best for them. Now, back to the Agent Chaos people that you were talking about. You have some, they try to, there was Harden was his name. He has spoken. He's a pastor in Atlanta, I believe. And he spoke. And when he spoke on Trump's behalf, he made a statement of, is that his daughter, when it was time to pray, his daughter reached out and grabbed my hand to pray. That's not a daughter of a racist. Now let's take it on back and let's take it to the streets. We know a lot of our white friends, our, homies, our chicks, the girls that deal with the black dudes. That does not say that their father is a racist. Some rebel. You know what I mean? Let's be real. So it's like, that's really, when I heard him say that, I said, there's some inaccuracies because we know, some of them, they like the black dizzle. They want some black dizzle. That's it. You know what I'm saying? So reach your hand out to pray. Absolutely, Mr. Bigfoot skinny guy. Okay, so why was you really sitting over there trying to hold your hand so fast? You know what I mean? I ain't trying to put it out there, but that's just my thoughts. So to say just because she held your hand and reached out for your hand first does not mean that her father is not a racist. Do I believe Trump is a racist? I ain't really put that much thought in him. I haven't put that much thought into him at all. It's like, hurry up, do your 4 years and get him out of there. That's my thoughts. Is he presidential? I don't believe that he's presidential because society groomed us that presidential is your top notch. Presidential is up here. You're polished. You know what I mean? They didn't say you had to have a degree to be the president, clearly. So he's giving people a chance. But on the show that I was watching him on, he said, he was talking about how the suburbs, and he said it out of his mouth, how the suburbs will be just like the inner city. And they're talking about putting government housing in the suburbs. He was like, I don't want that. And that's what a lot of our people that are from inner city, once you make a certain dollar amount, and I'm trying to keep it, let me just be real. Once you make a certain dollar amount, you want to act like, you high on your horse, you way up top. And it's like, well, I make this amount of money and this is what I'm getting ready to do. Now I'm moving away from all my cousins and my friends. I done made it. I'm on this side of the railroad tracks. And then you say, guess what? How am I going to be accepted? I'm going to go into, I'm going to be a Republican, be a conservative. I'll be accepted as a status. And you got to look at the bigger picture and say, okay, you're there and you're still black. And guess what? If you have a black child, especially a son in the suburbs, why is my son being stopped? I don't understand. Why is my son being harassed? Because you're still black. So you got to know what you know, regardless, and do what's right. I'm shocked with, and this is just my opinion, I'm shocked with the Hispanics. Because come one, come all. You know what I mean? We all together. As far as like, This is my black sister and brother. We all on one. This is it. And if they are against one, you're against all. That's where it needs to be. But I'm shocked that you have people that are for Trump after what he said. Because he has done what he said except arrest Crooked Hillary. Remember, he said she was going to jail. But all the other stuff he did, he said that he was going to send them Hispanics back across the border. He said he didn't care and it was by any means. He Malcolm X'd them by any means necessary. He separated them babies, and everybody like, oh my gosh, I can't believe he got the babies in cages and he's separating. Why can't you believe it when this guy said it? So it kind of makes you wonder, is America tired of people saying what they're going to do and not following through? And that's why they're voting him in? Or are they really blinded and like, okay, it's not going to happen to me? But then when your aunt, your uncle go, and you're like, oh, wait a minute. And now you're mad. But he told you. Go ahead, Nick. You look like you want to say something.
No, I'm agreeing with you. It's just like, this whole thing has just got me, like, with this political mess. And there's something that happened. We'll get into that later. Mm-hmm. That I guess happened yesterday in Hermitage. And right before the show, I was watching a friend of mine, her live, and she was upset and crying. And her son, he's mixed. He has a white father. He was with his white friends over there in Hermitage in the movie theater yesterday, and all the kids that he was with, they were talking. Well, this 40 or 50-year-old white man singled him out of all the kids and told him to shut the F up, you. And took the boy's phone from him, slapped him in the face with it, and threw it. Now, mind you, this young man is 14, but he's also autistic. His mother was crying, so she's on her way back up to the theater. She was waiting for it to open with the Hermitage police. No one said anything.
Nobody stopped it.
Not one of his friends said anything. No other adult in the theater said anything. She said, and I asked her, I said, well, no other adult intervened. She said, intervene. And she said, no. Her son said there was another couple there, but nobody in the theater, like the theater workers, nobody said nothing, and they allowed this man to leave. Now, her son knows what he looked like, described him to a T. So, and you know, in the movie theaters, they don't have cameras inside the theater, but you know, in the rest of the movie theater, like when you first come in. So they're going to go back. She is literally upset, and this is one of the
by rights she should be.
I
said by rights she should be.
Exactly.
So we need to follow that story.
Like, to the point where she's ready, and listen, she comes from a very religious family.
Wait a minute, because we can't stay on the topic too long, but we will definitely follow that story. It's in Hermitage, Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
and young man,
movie theater yesterday.
Which movie theater?
It is Shenango Valley. Is it the Shenango Valley Theater?
Okay, but yeah. I'll check into it and we'll follow that story. You mentioned that none of the children stepped up, which they're young too. So I can understand that part of it. The way the world is right now, probably fear, not wanting to get involved. As an employee, if I were in the employee shoes, I didn't come to work to fight. I just came to tell you down the hall to the left. You know what I mean? So you have to take those things into consideration, especially being younger. Yes, I would think that somebody should have called the police. Is it right that that person did that? Absolutely not. But here again, that's a prime example. You'll have a racist grandfather who, because I know one of my homegirls, whose father is racist and she has biracial children, and she is not allowed over his house. And neither are her children because they are biracial. I will say, and I've said it from the beginning, and Roogle, you heard me say this, where I said, I believe it was necessary for President Trump to get into office because we were able to see racism come out. It was revealed. It has been concealed. Even though we knew it existed, they were like concealing it. But now, like she's saying, now you're putting your hands on people. That's a problem. That's assault. And then to throw things, it's almost like they have okay, well, it's my right. It's my privilege to treat somebody wrong. Absolutely not. Roogle, go ahead and weigh in on this.
Well, first I want to say is like this. I don't think there's anything subjectively wrong with a black person being a Republican. What I do believe is that you have Republicans now, black and white, that are saying that this is not the guy. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And they're so they're Republicans for whatever reason they are, but they also know bad leadership when they see it. And you have some people that's just gonna stay, regardless of what. You got some people that's just gonna stay because they like what's happening, and you have some people that just like, when I cast my vote, I need to make a vote that's good for America. And that's how I look at my vote. Is like, and the problem is that unfortunately some of these things, some of these obstacles that I think that I vote in favor for, not the obstacles, but the solutions to those obstacles, I experience, but I know that it's like some of those things I don't want other people to experience either. Now, as far as this theater situation, that is one of those things where, I mean, like, I can only imagine the shock that was on the kid's face when that happened. You know what I mean? Then you got, because I've been in theaters before, and one thing that comes to mind was Did you want to throw the phone to me? I wasn't too much. That was okay stuff. That was people really enjoying their time, right? And I know, like, I'm not a person that needs to go to a movie theater on a Friday night the day the movie releases. I'm not that person, unless it's like when we went to go see Black Panther. Everybody was like quiet, right? Everybody was like, everybody was on the edge of their seat, right? But then there's situations like the movie we went to go see, The Perfect Guy, where I expect, ridiculous stuff because, I didn't have high hopes for that movie anyway. But,
well, I appreciate you going.
Yeah. But the thing is that I remember I was taking my son to a Ninja Turtle movie or something like that, right? And it wasn't these new movies. It was like a cartoon movie whenever that came out. He was a little younger. And the theater was filled with like moms, some dads with kids and all this stuff. And there's this guy right in front of me who decides to take a cell phone conversation. And, and I'm like, hey, like, we're here trying to enjoy this movie with our children. Shouldn't you be doing the same? You know what I mean? And I think he kind of got a little pissed off about it, but his conversation was like, yeah, and blah, blah, blah.
Oh, so he wasn't wrapping it up.
Yeah, it wasn't like, oh, I'm on the phone. I mean, I'm at the movies. I'm cool. Like, ain't nobody gonna say nothing to me. You know what I mean? So, I mean, like, I'm not saying that those kids deserve what happened to them or nothing like that. I'm not saying that, but I think that there's a way to be able to ask somebody to stop it.
Oh, get an usher. Get an usher and tell them to be quiet. Can you ask them to be quiet?
The thing. That's the whole thing I'm, was getting across, like, especially with his friends. I know these are young teenagers. Not one of them thought to go get an usher or go get the manager because that's part of the manager's job.
They probably was shocked because I know.
Yeah, right. So it was like
14. That's what, 7th grade.
I think some of it is shock. Yeah, that's like 8th grade. I would say 8th grade.
Yeah. Okay.
7th, 8th grade, whatever. But I think though.
Oh yeah.
I think about it like this: grade. You get somebody who's blatantly that ignorant. You don't know if they got a concealed weapon on them or.
And that's what she was crying about. She said because her son could have lost his life yesterday. She don't know if that man had a weapon.
Okay, but thank God he did. It didn't go that far. Go ahead, Roogle.
It didn't go that far. But the thing is, maybe those kids was like, I don't even know if I should even get up. Because if I get up, how is this guy going to take me getting up? Is he thinking that I'm going to attack him or whatever it is or whatever? You know what I mean? I think there's a lot. I think there's a lot to unpack with that, and not knowing what the children's frame of mind was after that happened, because
they probably need some counseling.
Well, I've been in situations like that, man. Being a kid, and some older white person has told me they're gonna pull a gun out on me or something like that, something ridiculous over like over really nothing. I'm trying to think what it was about.
Okay, you think about it. Let me ask Tamron, who's closer to the age of 14 than we are. What's your thoughts on that? How do you think you would have handled it? And the honest truth.
If I was in the child's position?
If you were 14 years old.
Oh, man. Being 14, there's a lot going on up here.
Okay.
So if you're in a situation where that occurs, and it's like you really can't do anything about it other than sit there. I wouldn't get up at all, because I'm not going to perceive myself as a threat towards the person. Because being 14, I probably couldn't even stand a chance anyway.
Okay.
But I would just sit there, because I want to go home that day. I want to go home.
Okay.
And that's how it is, even nowadays. Like, I usually take walks a lot. And so, I have to watch myself, because I know there's been a lot of things going on with people taking people, and, just people just driving by and just something happens. I don't want that to happen. So I'm always cautious as I do so. Other than that, I just stay home.
Okay. How old are you?
I'm 20.
20. And isn't that sad that you want to take a walk or a jog and you have to worry about if somebody going to take you, steal your organs? Let's keep it real. You know what I mean? Just like you should be able to take a walk and be able to come home and not worry about, am I going to go home? I'm going to leave. I'm going to take this walk, get some exercise, clear my head. And in your mind, before you go, you have to say, I need to take the necessary steps to make sure that I get home safe.
Exactly. And it always depends on whether it's day or night. Like, if it's daytime, even if it is daytime or nighttime, I wear exactly what doesn't perceive a threat towards anybody or police officers, because, a police officer could stop you while you're walking or driving. It doesn't really matter. So I always wear the necessary outfit that doesn't, make me look like, oh, I'm about to go do something bad.
Suspect.
Watch this. Right.
And that's bad. And see, that's what Nick was saying. That was her point. That's
but
terrible.
I want to just say this, though, real quick. I don't even think it's about what you wear. It's about if they feel like messing with you at that time of the day. You know what I mean? Because it wasn't like, when I reflect back on the situation with me, it was just something where it was just somebody who just didn't like us. You know what I mean? It had nothing to do with like we did anything or anything like that. It was just one of those things where, like, well, what are y'all supposed to be doing around here? And I got guns and all this kind of stuff. Like, well, you're like, what? Just ridiculous stuff. And it's not, it's not a thing on how a person dresses.
Let me say this. I hear your experience, Roogle, but did you listen to him?
I heard him.
Did you listen to him?
Yeah, I heard him.
And this is what concerns me. What he said is the steps that he takes to try to prevent things from happening. And then you wonder, why is high blood pressure more prominent in black men? This is a young man who has to worry about his outfit. All we had to do was worry about what we was going to wear to school on Monday. We had our church clothes. We had our school clothes. That was the extreme. Now these young black men have to say, here's my school clothes. Here's my dress clothes. Here's I'm going to go walking in the public clothes. Here's my clothes that I actually like. We were able to choose what we liked and not have to worry about being a suspect. And just like with your example and your experience, that's awful. And we know that exists. But to have to have to think about I was just worried about how I was going to look fly going roller skating. Hear somebody say, I don't want to look like a suspect. Do they have a clothes department that say suspect department? You know what I mean? Because a hoodie now, and I understood what he was saying, because look at Trayvon Martin. He had on a hoodie, and some Skittles. So are we now going to be like, oh, I better not do this? I look suspicious because we got all those Karens out there. It is sad. And that actually validates what Nick was saying on a previous show, actually several shows. Nick, the voice, was saying how we have to always make sure that we protect ourselves, or we got to program ourselves prior to make sure that we don't become a victim. And he actually just said his experience of what he does to prepare to go in public. Kudos to you. Thank you, Tamron. I truly appreciate it. I truly appreciate it. Let me get him what he needs.
You have all these parents. It's just, and it's trickled down to the colleges now, because that's one of my topics that we talk about later. It's just crazy. It's
everywhere. But when he said it, that really touched me, because I'm like, listening to him, this is something he has to deal with now. And Roogle, you dealt with it years prior. So look how things have progressed. It hadn't gotten better. It's gotten worse. And then you look at, oh, okay, well, here's a young man that just want to go walking and got to sit here and say, I better figure out what I'm gonna wear. Okay, I don't want to be this. Protecting yourself. And I know that they had, tell me the name of that, Roogle. I know you know the name of it, where they have the police officers in the community coming together. And before we did it years ago with the Black Knights Police Association, but where they communicate to say how to respond to a police officer. Here's why do we have to teach how to respond to a police officer when I just want to be me? Shouldn't the police officer, because we know they have classes, how to respond, because they're trained on how to respond to the public. That's their occupation. They chose that. As a person, I'm just born. Why do I have to learn how to respond to you? And when you're not trying to respond to me, you're the bad apple. Let's put the bad apple, because your experience was a terrible experience, and somebody that just didn't like you, and they're just like, okay. Or you do have the racists, like I said, that's out there, and no matter how you look and how you dress. So, back to what you were saying, Roogle, you still get bothered. But knowing that you have a preparation before you go into society, besides the preparation that your parents instill, you better be respectful. You better, you got all of that. And now you got to figure out, now, how am I not a threat to the police officers? And how am I going to be cool with my friends? Because I don't want to walk around with a flannel. Flannel. I might be told that I'm a vanilla wafer. You know what I mean? I'm wearing a flannel and some jeans. So now they're like, oh, okay, he a black boy, but he act white. So I got black people that don't like me because the way that I dress. And I chose to dress this way because I am actually fitting in to this.
Trying to protect myself.
Right, to this community, to protect myself. It's a lot.
We used to wear flannel.
Yeah. Wait, Nick. He said we used to wear flannel. Yeah. Where you from? Where you from? That's all I gotta say. You see that, Tamron? Where you from?
You can wear flannel.
Yeah, you can wear flannel on your side of town. I know.
On every side of town.
I know. Over your cousin's house.
No, everybody.
And then you went to another side of town with your airbrush stuff on, right? What?
Everybody wore flannel. I mean, that wasn't.
That was in the 90s, though. That was in the 90s. But I'm talking about a nice flannel, not the cotton ones that we had open with the tank tops or the t-shirts. Not that one with the sagging pants, with the jeans. Not that one.
Flannel was flannel.
Not
the preppy flannel.
The preppy, yeah.
The preppy flannel.
Yes, the preppy flannel.
Y'all crazy.
And look, button your shirt all the way up to the top.
I'm buttoning it all the way to the top. If I put on the tie or whatever. But the point I'm saying is, yeah, it just, some of it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I've been discriminated on the side of where, you think that you may be too good, whatever that means. You know what I mean? You get that high end rejection. You get that low end rejection.
Absolutely. Where do we fit in?
A lot of times people just if you have a certain confidence to you, not arrogance, confidence, Some people don't like that. Some people, like I remember people be like, well, I thought you was cocky before I actually got to know you.
Now, pin that right there. No, pin that.
You know what I mean?
Pin that. I'm about to be like a vice president. Listen.
President. Okay.
Listen.
All right, I got you.
No, but right where you are. Oh, okay, 1 second, Tamron. Right where you are is exactly what I'm talking about. So because somebody don't like you, so now it's up to you to change you to fit in to society, somebody outside.
I think we was talking about interaction with the police.
I get that.
Yeah, and I think the thing is, it's twofold. The police should definitely have training, and they
do.
Kick in that train. Well, I mean, there's training now that the government is talking about they won't fund, because they feel like it's racist because it talks about social justice, right? Whatever that's about.
That's overall.
So the other issue is that from the black male's perspective, even if you do not know if you're going to get a good officer. So you have to, there's this stuff that you have to know because you don't know if that officer can step away from the situation and not get offended, or probably the bigger part is not even offense, is like they say, I fear for my life in this situation. And I don't know how much that is true or whatever, but the thing is like, what do I need to do to put this person at ease who has weapons and backup?
We didn't choose that occupation.
I know
I'm not a threat, a bomb mediator. You know what I mean?
I understand you didn't choose the occupation,
but
the point is that the person who chose it, you don't know how the level of their professionalism.
And it's not our place to do that. Our place is to be a good person.
Yeah,
all the time.
The thing is,
and I get it, to talk down before take down, but that is an issue. That's my point. Exactly. That's an issue that we have to talk down the people that are professionals. Like,
I'll give you an example. One time I got pulled over for nothing, right? I didn't get it. The end result was I didn't get a ticket or any of that stuff. It's nighttime. The police officer comes over to me. Now I'm sitting in my car. He has a flashlight pointed down at me with, and I'm looking up at him. And he says, well, why you looking at me like that? I was like, well, sir, think about it from this perspective. I'm sitting in this car a couple feet below you. You look like you're about 6 feet tall. So I'm sitting down. I'm probably at about 4 feet sitting, my head level is. And you shining a bright light in my eyes in the middle of the night. What do you, like, it's only human response that I would probably look a certain way to you. Right? And then he thought about it for a minute. But the thing was, nothing came from it. Now, the thing was, he could have been egging me on to say, well, you look this kind of way, and all that kind of stuff. And I could have been like, well, what the hell are you talking about this and that? I just think, like, for me, it was like, well, obviously, this guy doesn't realize the position he's in.
Okay.
He doesn't know what he's
So you gave him a Roogle response. Now here's the thing, though. Your response, listen, right, you were who you were. And the situation was fine. You were able to be who you were. He asked you a question. You gave him a Roogle response. However, if he was a different officer, he would have took that Roogle response as being condescending.
Hey, he could.
Did it sound condescending to you guys?
Hey,
now let's look at, wait. Now let's look at it from this perspective. So I'd be like, listen, no, we ain't looking at it no way. Give me your license and registration.
And I can imagine exactly how Roogle said it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So you were calm, you were angry, but that's still kind of condescending. Now let's look at it from this perspective. You're this big. And I mean, it was factual, but he did not have to receive it that way.
Because you know what's crazy, though? It's something that always happens to me. And I don't know if it gets me off of stuff. Even though I haven't done anything, I'm getting pulled over. And I don't know what it is, but every time I go and take my license picture, and it's not by design, I usually have on a tie or a suit, right?
Oh, okay.
So when they see
So that's a good, okay.
So when they see my license, they probably thinking like, well, hell, he got on a suit and tie. You know what I mean? So I think it kind of like alerts them to another kind of perspective. Like,
that's a great. See what I'm saying? That's a great idea. Edutainment.
That's me though. I used to a lot.
I'm wearing a prom dress next time. I'm wearing a prom dress.
And what helps him out is the fact that he was on the Board of Education, and you know.
But they don't know that. But they don't know that yet.
Most people who vote don't know that.
Yeah. How about that? Look, I'm like, they don't know that.
But if they watch the news and they will see that, you know, who would you see? Roogle, because there are several times I'll be like, oh, I know that guy.
That's him. And you know what? And I'm used to seeing him in suits all the time too. Tamron, there was something you wanted to say. Go ahead.
It was. I don't mean to like backtrack.
No. Go ahead.
Yeah, this was from the doing this and that to fit in and all that, everything. Back in high school, I used to get bullied for, just the basic stuff, the ears. I used to put on a low weight, but the main thing that was mainly bullied for was the fact that I was well spoken, and the phrase that they used was talking white.
Air quotes, yes.
Mm-hmm. And that bothered me.
And you were bullied by whom?
By literally everybody in my class.
All the black people?
Black. No, they were black.
Yeah, that's why I said all the black people. Yeah,
folks.
Right. And
I got the ears. I had the big chest. I had a top white. You live up on the hill, so you think you better than everybody. I had all of that. So yeah, I was bullied, and that's why I'm the person that I am now. And I'm like, snap back real quick, because I used to be that shy, timid, wouldn't say nothing, been over backwards for everybody. All them life experiences is what got Nick the voice to where she is now, where I got the voice now, because before I was meek and humble, quiet, and I got bullied by my own people so much. But that ain't turned me. Of course, that ain't gonna turn me against my own people in the struggle and the fight with my own people. But yeah,
So that question is, where do you fit in? It's like, if they don't want me, they don't want me. You have that, and I'm going to say this because this was an ongoing thing, especially in the 80s, light skin versus dark skin. We're all skinned. Like, that was nuts to me. I didn't understand that. I didn't have them problems because I'm like right in the middle, mocha, with a little bit of cream. And I just
having to argue with people.
I just like people. That. And I just, it's like people are people, and everyone, not everybody beautiful. Let me tell you, they ain't that cute. But most people, it didn't matter the shade. If you were beautiful, if you had a nice heart, it was about how you treated people. Because, and I'll always say, people remember most how they feel when you leave their presence. So just like what Roogle was saying, when he talked to somebody, they was like, oh, I ain't like you. I didn't like you until I spoke to you. I thought you were better than. Well, thank you for your perception. Mission accomplished. Check. That means that I hold myself at a higher standard, and everyone needs to hold themselves at a higher standard. And it's sad when you have your own people that are bullying you or saying, oh, I don't like that individual and I don't know that individual. That's an issue. And especially in the adulthood. Now, Roogle, in your line of work that you were in, where you were the only male amongst a lot of females, did you have any discrimination there?
All the time. Sexual discrimination. Yeah.
Can you give an example?
There was, I remember
besides, can you lift everything? Because we'd be like, oh, he'll be at work, we'll get him to move it.
There would be comments about, like, I remember this one, okay, age discrimination too, right? Age and sex. And I remember this lady told me, like, because we were having a conversation about something and we had opposing views. Nobody was arguing. It was a group meeting. Uh-huh. And she told me that she's forgotten more than I know to this point in my life.
Oh, how?
You know what I mean? Just because she was older and she didn't like the fact that I came at her with a comment. You know what I mean? I mean, not a comment that was rude, but just a perspective that wasn't, that I guess she felt intimidated about. there's been times where I've been like women have said things to me that if I would have even attempted to say something like that, it would have been chaotic. In my mind, I think it would have turned out bad. You know what I mean? But and from that perspective, though, the one thing I didn't do was I tried not to make a big deal about it. One job that I recently had a few years ago, there was a situation where this lady, like she every day she attempted to openly flirt with me in this room that we share.
And this is the older lady, right?
She was older than me, you know what I mean? But she would say something like, "Oh, if I wasn't married," or or something like, like stuff like that. Like, I mean, really some stuff where, like, if I came in the room and said that to a woman, it would have been like HR. You know what I mean? This a whole bunch of crazy stuff. But it's kind of like, well, I didn't necessarily think that the woman meant me harm, but it was a harmful situation to be in.
Now, why didn't you think that she meant you harm? Because you looked at her as like an auntie or something, or what?
No, it was just that that I felt like what I tried to do to control the situation was, which was probably ineffective, because it wasn't like I said to her, "Hey, I think the way you're speaking to me is inappropriate and I would like you to stop." I didn't go that far. I didn't say that kind of stuff.
Did you want to?
But I just ignored it. You know what I mean? Because it's like, when in that room, I was the only male and the only black person out of 8 people.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And so it was.
You don't think your complaint would have been taken serious?
I don't know. I mean, I think it would have been taken serious because they would have had no choice but to take it serious. But at the same time, this was a person who often was kind to me. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But kindness doesn't mean that you should
come on to you.
Disrespect. You know what I mean? And I should, so it was just one of those things where it was kind of like, oh, I'm going to try to get him riled up, because when I'm at work, it's a different me. I'm just like, oh, a matter of fact, and such, this and that. You know
Harvard.
What I mean? All business.
Uh-huh.
So I think the thing was they were trying. I think it was her maybe foolish attempt to try to like get me to break out of my shell. But it wasn't my shell. It was the level at which I like to work at.
Or do you think that it was intentional?
Oh,
Let's try to get him. I mean, I'm sure her advances were intentional, but I mean, to get him, because, there are people that be like, okay, well, all I need them to do is say this and then I'll file first and then they're out of here.
I mean, that could be, I don't know if that was her intentions, but I can say that there's been situations where I felt like, I ain't going for that. Because I remember this one guy I worked with, something that happened. This is at a whole nother place. And he was like, "Hey, I think that such and such likes you." And I was like, I wouldn't even know, because I'm not falling into that trap.
Okay.
You see the trap. I'm not even falling for it. I'm not even. If it is, I won't be the one that make an advance. You know what I'm saying?
I won't be the one.
Yeah.
They'll have to do it first.
What's that?
They got to come on to you first.
I mean, they got to come on to me first. I would assume so. Yeah, but my friend, the coworker, he'd be like, "Man, you be around here ducking."
I know that's right.
He's like, "You be around here ducking," but I'm like, "No, I'm be around here with self-preservation, because you don't know what someone's intentions are, and I ain't here for all that. It's plenty of other women outside of this bubble that we work in. For if I wanted to go talk to one, I'll go do that."
Hey, what's that sound?
I know that sound.
It's Mels Medical Baby. Hey, we're going to talk about the benefits of ginger. What am I sipping on? I'm sipping on some ginger tea right now. And the benefits of ginger is it's good for indigestion, dyspepsia for my medical people. They say that if you take some ginger early in the day before you eat, It's supposed to make the system move a little faster. Now, I don't know. I haven't done that. It's good. It's a good antioxidant. It fights germs. I guess it would, since it's a good antioxidant. Okay. A healthy mouth. Let's smile. And what that's supposed to do is supposed to cleanse the bacteria. Is like when you chew on it. Usually like with sushi, they have like the ginger on the side that some people just think is decorations. If you chew on that, hey, get all those bacteria out of the way. It's supposed to settle your stomach, like with nausea, if you feel nauseated. Again, good for indigestion, okay? It's supposed to help that way. It tames soreness. So it's almost, I guess, it's anti-inflammatory. We understand that. And if I didn't tell you, I'm telling you now. It's anti-inflammatory. So if you have like muscle aches or something like that, it's supposed to tame those muscle aches. Not immediately, but it's supposed to. A daily dose. Now, I'm just going to put this out here. And I read somewhere that a daily dose of ginger is supposed to decrease your cholesterol, decrease your blood pressure, and decrease your blood sugar. Now, on that note, I'm going to say, contact your physician. If you have chronic illnesses, do not just stop taking your blood pressure meds or your cholesterol meds or, your diabetic medication. Don't stop checking your blood sugar. It's very important to check your blood sugar, okay? And just popping back or drinking ginger tea or just eating raw ginger. Now, what I do personally, I'll take just hot water and the raw ginger, cut it. Look at me, cut it like I got a knife. And I just drop it in my water. And I've added a little bit of lemon just for, a little flavor, but it's not bad at all. Don't use sugar because we know that sugar is an immune downer. It will decrease your immune system. So you want to use honey at this time. I've also read with the whole COVID-19, if you think that you've been around somebody or somebody been coughing or something like that, they want you to drink warm water. Tea. Tea drinker. Ding. Okay. And what that does is hurry up and just flush it through your system. Okay. All right. That is it for Mels Medical Moments. I tried to make it happen. You already know. Roogle, what's happening in the movie world?
Wow. Nothing really, but dates getting moved way back. You had a lot of movies that were supposed to come out this fall. The new James Bond movie, Wonder Woman, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Pushed back because of COVID. They pushed them back late summer. That wasn't good enough because COVID. Pushed them back to the fall. That wasn't good enough because of COVID. Now we have a date for Wonder Woman. It's supposed to be in December. But Hollywood itself is looking and saying, like, we may need to step back and just wait even more. I wanted to go look into 2001's release dates, and nothing is solidified at this point. And the stuff that we have coming in the fall or late or early winter may not be coming at all either because they want to make that money back. So far, the things that are coming out in December, now, I know. You say it's just the beginning of October. Why are you talking about December? Because ain't really nothing coming out in October. Ain't really nothing coming out in November. And these are the things, the blockbusters that were supposed to come out in May that's been pushed back to December. That, except for Coming to America 2. They always had a late 2020 start. But they're looking at that coming out on the 18th. Wonder Woman potentially on Christmas Day, and then the movie Soul, which is a Pixar movie, like how they do the Pixar. They were going to be on the 25th as well, and they said, "Nah, we ain't doing that," and they bumped it back. So the big action has been on a small screen. You got to see what your streamers are doing if you want new entertainment, because that's where it's at. Some of the things that I've taken in so far is the new Ratchet series on Netflix. Ratchet is supposed to be Nurse Ratchet from Two Birds Fly Over the Cuckoo's Nest, or I think that's the name of the title. Anyway, it's her like origin story, and it's a pretty decent series. I checked it out, watched it. Some of it it's cool. I give it a.
Some of it is gruesome.
It got its parts. It got its parts. You know what I mean? Like there's no good guys. It's like it's this. I just ain't as bad as the other person, right? But it's worth the watch. And Sarah Paulson, who plays the lead as Nurse Mildred Ratchet, which is like a crazy name in itself, but that's the name of the character. She does a great job in there. She's really like, it's some of the dialogue is so tough. Some of the things that's happening in it is so nice. Sharon Stone gives a great performance in it. It's really a good show. Really, it really is. And I also watched, I believe it's the 7th or 8th season of Wentworth, which is a New Zealand show that is on Netflix, but it's from a New Zealand broadcaster, and it's basically about a women's prison. And I've watched all the episodes and all that kind of stuff, up to speed on it, just watched it. This season wasn't as strong as past seasons, but I would give it a C+. It's worth checking out.
Okay.
And then The Boys on Amazon. I just wrapped it up the 8th episode, which was the last episode of the second season. Mm-hmm. And that show, man, they pull out all the stops. Right when you think that, like, I don't even know where they're gonna go with this. Is this something that's extra? Like I would say, it was a whole lot more, maybe a lot more action in this one, but it was more plot driven on this larger scope of like where VOT is potentially gonna go. VOT is the company that made the Heroes or whatever, and that's not a spoiler. The first season's out. If you didn't watch it, you need to watch it. So the biggest thing on my list to watch on television in this particular time right now is Lovecraft Country. I don't know if y'all seen it or not.
I haven't.
I keep hearing about it.
It is excellent. Lovecraft Country stars Journey Smollett, Juicy Smollett's sister. And it is excellent. It is really good. In this show, it takes basically the Lovecraft book was it was an anthology. So what they did with this anthology was put it together to make one story, but still have those individual beats. And it takes place in the 1950s. They had last episode. They had it takes place in Chicago mainly in the 1950s. And the focus of not really the focus of the last episode, but something that was happening during the last episode was Emmett Till. And they had the Emmett Till body viewing in there. Now, they didn't show Emmett Till's body, but it was like a lot of people that were outside of the church going to view it because the mother said she wanted people to see what they did to her son. So she had an open casket. And, it was... That part was just so, like, I love how this show ties in an actual event, and it doesn't make it the focus of it, but it lets you know what was happening at the time. Like in the first episode, it was this really intense, pretty much chase. They got pulled over by the cops, and the cop told them, hey, you ever hear of a sundown town? This is a sundown county, and you got 7 minutes to get out of this county. But and the thing was, they couldn't speed. They had to go 25 miles an hour trying to get out of this county. Like, it's the most intense, slowest car chase ever. You know what I mean? And then it just goes, once that happens, boom, turns into something completely different, right? Not different, but just different. I wasn't expecting that to happen, and that's everything that this series throws at you, because I'm not familiar with the Lovecraft book or whatever. So everything that I'm seeing is new for me. And it's just so Mia, what's her name? Misha Smith, I think, is the name of the writer and director of it. And she is doing the Lord's work, man. This stuff is so good. What she's pushing out every week upon every week. It is so exciting to see. I can't wait to see how this season wraps up. And I know, and I hope, and I pray that there's another season. And I want to make it real quick.
What's the name of that again?
Lovecraft Country. It's on HBO.
Okay.
Yeah. And so coming up this fall, some great things that I'm going to check out is there's one thing that's on Showtime. It's called The Good Lord Bird. And it's basically about abolitionist that runs into a young slave and frees that slave, and then events happen. I haven't checked it out, but it does star Ethan Hawke. And Ethan Hawke was also in Training Day as a supporting actor to Denzel Washington. So that's on Showtime. The Mandalorian is coming back for season 2 on Disney Plus, and that preview looked pretty good. And I tell you like this, I've been trying to stay off of this and not really read anything on it because they are spoiling it. And the first season, the greatest thing about it was Baby Yoda, and nobody knew about Baby Yoda until Baby Yoda came out.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but they didn't spoil it. They didn't have toys released. They didn't do any of that stuff. They just kind of we gonna show you this, and then blam! So I truly enjoyed that movie. That series. I even watched it again just to get refreshed on it because it's dropping on Disney Plus on the 30th. Then there's the 40-year-old version, VERSION.
Okay, so it is version. Okay.
Yeah, and this is on Netflix, and it's about a black female writer who had some acclaim early on, and then she kind of her acclaim didn't stick, and now she's a teacher. Now she's trying to find her way out, and so that is on Netflix. I haven't watched it yet, but it is there to view. I probably will end up watching it tonight because I'm very interested in seeing how this lady turns her life around or turns her perspective around or whatever. But anyway, that's out there, and I think that's enough. I mean, I can go on and on, but I think
that's enough for this week.
Have we reached the threshold?
Yes, we have reached the threshold, and I will let you know that there is one movie that's out. Go ahead, finish.
Oh, it's Maya's birthday today. She's 41.
Maya who?
And Maya.
The singer?
The singer. Maya.
I'm like, who? Maya who? The singer? Okay.
You remember Maya?
Yeah, I do remember Maya. Look at the dancer. Okay, he liked Maya. There is a movie that was to premiere October 17th, which is canceled due to COVID-19. And that movie is called The Journal. I'll tell you a little bit about it. It's an excellent film. It's a little girl, and the little girl, the people that she ends up coming encounter with, and I can't blow it. Listen, it's called The Journal. Your girl, me, I got a few cameos in there, so yay, come check me out. It'll be on DVD because they canceled, like I said, they canceled the premiere because of the COVID. And you can go to Dexter Jones Entertainment, and you could get that DVD and you could check it out. But listen, it's so good that when it was time for my part, I was so engrossed in watching it. When it was my part, I was like, oh, wait, that's me. So, watching, seeing the clip, watching it all happen, it's an amazing experience. Your girl, hey, any actor roles, call me. Y'all already know that's where I started, the performing arts. That's where I started. That is what it is. So that's coming out actually October 17th. Let you look, October 17th, we'll do it up. I might have a watch party or something. I might do something, but we got to be socially distancing. I wonder if I could play it on a Zoom or something. All right, Nick is going to let us know what's happening on the streets. So tell us, what's the hot topics on the street, girlfriend?
And then she unmute herself.
Is she? Come on, Nick. Where you at, honey bunny?
I thought I had unmuted myself. This article that I read, this incident happened September 14th, but the article was not released on Black Star Journal until September 29th. But it was a young 17-year-old college student at Stephen F. Austin University. She was awakened at 3 o'clock in the morning with guns drawn, sort of like a Breonna Taylor thing. But this was in the dorm because her white roommates, and there were 7 of them, she was a cheerleader, and friends and so-called friends and roommates thought it would be funny, some kind of little challenge or joke, some kind of joke going on where they went to the resident advisor and
the
told
RA.
that this young lady had threatened everybody with, threatened to stab all of them with scissors, which she had not done. The resident advisor had notified the campus police, and they came in the room with guns drawn at 3 a.m. in the morning. This child didn't know what was going on. We could have had another Breonna Taylor incident on our hands. Well, at first the school wasn't. What they did was they, I guess, watched tape, or the video surveillance camera, and they see that she had not threatened anybody with anything. And then it came out that it was a joke, or it was a joke. They played a joke on her.
So what happened to the people that called? What happened there?
Yeah, they called. She was waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
No, not that. The end result for them, they found out that it was a joke, but that wasn't a joke. What happened to them? Do we need to follow the story?
Right now, the parents were kind of concerned. They have a lawsuit out against them.
Okay, so they have a lawsuit. Now, where is this at again?
This is at Stephen F. Austin University. I'm not sure exactly where.
Okay, Stephen. Okay, so we need to definitely follow up on that story because I want to know what's the
president of the school did finally come up and say that they're looking into the incident, and those individuals are not going to go unpunished.
Okay.
But my thing is, how come nobody heard about this? This happened a whole month ago.
I heard about it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I heard about it. So it was on.
Why did it taking them so long? Because that girl could have. These are Karens. I mean, they're not really Karens. They just thought it was a funny joke.
Karen Juniors, yeah.
Not funny because you see what's going on, the Breonna Taylor incident, what's all going on, and you
choose to make a decision like this. And see, here's the thing. By them saying that it was a joke, I think that's probably the difference there because you had the woman in New York, remember, with the dog, and she called falsely. And so they have that new law that you can't call and make false reports, and it happened somewhere in Ohio. I can't remember exactly where the guy happened to be sitting on his car at going to an orientation, and he didn't want to sit in his car. He sat on his car, and boom, there you have it. So that was he didn't understand what happened. He got there early. It's like, so what's the problem? To be early is to be on time. To be on time is to be late. So here he is. Yeah, so here he is being early. And the police come and tell me something. I don't think that's his car. That's not his car. A suspicious man is on wherever, on his vehicle. Well, he was just waiting to be, to go ahead and go to orientation, which was not okay. That incident right there, I did read that article, but I was wondering what happened. I wanted to talk. So I'm glad you informed us as to what happened to them because I didn't want to report that information without having the solution. I need to see what's going to happen at the end so I can tell you instead of just leaving it wide open. And yes, you're right. With the Breonna Taylor thing going on and that going on, they don't need to make jokes. And them being younger is probably like, okay, they're young, but we know when it comes to certain races, being young is not an excuse. You shouldn't have made,
not at all.
You shouldn't have made a joke that way.
That as being a joke.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You wanted to kill her.
They can lie and say they thought it was a joke, but when you say there's somebody who wants to assault me with a deadly weapon,
that's not a joke.
What's the joke in that?
It's not.
It's not a joke.
That's why I was saying. So depending on the color of your skin, it would have been real different. It would have been very different.
It's always been illegal to file a false report or whatever. I mean, but this is. We're going to look at this and say it's racially motivated.
Yeah,
right?
definitely. I agree. I'm in agreement.
They singled out the one black woman who was not engaged in anything, and they did that to her. There's a joke. A joke is, oh, she's asleep. Let's put her hand in some warm water and see if she pee on herself. That's a joke, right? I don't even know if
that's not a joke because she could drown. Me from the medical field.
Water or the pee.
Yeah.
But the point I'm saying is that that's not a joke. It's not a prank. That's a false report of someone of you saying that someone wants to assault you with a deadly weapon. That's what
I really think they did it on purpose, but because they I don't think they thought the campus police were going to look at a surveillance tape and
But
everything, and now they're trying to get out.
Those are serious accusations. Those are serious accusations. And then to contact the RA. But they contacted the RA. They contacted the RA. So did you want her out of the dorm? Like, why would you contact? And it sounds, was the RA in on it? You know what I mean? It's just a lot. It's just a lot to take in.
I ain't gonna go so far to say the RA was in it, but I will say that as an authority figure, they had to do what the next step is. They
call the police. Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm gonna take their word for it, because why would somebody lie about something like that, right?
No, that's true.
But they did, and so my thing is they need to be expelled.
That's what I think. That's what needs to be. When he said punish, so we'll see what the punishment is. We don't know what the punishment is yet, but he said that he'll be punishing them.
Only punishment that fits that crime is expulsion, because they could have got her life taken.
Exactly.
Could have got her life taken, and not only her life, but let's say they didn't confirm it, right? And they just said, "Well, we're gonna expel you because you did this," which they could have did. They could have ruined her. They could have ruined her education, her opportunity to get an education, because I don't know if she had any student loans or nothing. But let's say it would have went so far to giving her a felony or something of that fact. She wouldn't have been able to get any financial.
Yeah, she wouldn't even. Yeah, that would be awful.
The thing that they did is something you should not do, and they need to be punished by expulsion.
I agree with you. I definitely agree with you. I don't know if I say it, but I want to put this out here. If you feel as though that you came in contact with someone, because I kind of got cut off a little bit, in contact with somebody that you may think, I'm going to say may think, is positive for COVID-19 or exhibits some symptoms, again, that's when I was talking about with the warm water. Did I mention all of that? Like the warm water and stuff like that, so it goes through the system faster? Yeah. All right. So if you think, if somebody shows any symptoms, any type of virus, not even just that one. So I want to move on to the vaccine. The vaccine, we already discovered, though we already had our poll on that, we already discovered that we will be listening to the scientist and not the president. Now, he's saying that he said it'll be out before the election. Pence said that it should be out before the end of the year. What's your thoughts on that, Tamron?
I don't think this vaccine is going to be a good idea, especially in the hands of Donald Trump.
Okay, go ahead, Roogle. What's your thoughts?
What I feel is that they're doing a lot to like trying to push these trials and stuff like that. And they had one trial where somebody got really sick. They haven't disclosed what happened to that person. They just said they got really sick. Right. And that's kind of slowed down things and that sort of thing like this. I think right now a vaccine is great. The issue is prevention. Like in any other situation, prevention. What's the steps for prevention? Social distancing, wearing a mask. You know what I mean?
Prevention for the COVID. Okay. But guess what else is a prevention phase? Immunizations. So that's a prevention. That's a prevention as well.
They don't.
Right. They don't know for sure.
Immunity, or are you talking about immunity based on the vaccination?
I'm on all of them. All of those are preventions. Those are preventative measures. Nick, go ahead. What's your thoughts? I just want to put it out there. I'm not promoting it. I'm just saying that's a prevention as well. That's why they encourage people to get the flu shot every year.
Right.
Yes or no?
At this point, with the president that we got and they pushing this back, I'd rather take my chances with Rona.
Okay.
Than to be pushed with that vaccine.
Okay, moving on to the next, because we got to hurry up and get done here. Pro-life. Are you familiar with the whole pro-life issue, Tamron? As far as
no.
Okay, with pro-life, you have a president that is pro-life, and I'm not going to say the other one isn't pro-life, but they're trying to make it as if Biden is not pro-life for abortions. Let me just keep it plain for the people. Do you think? I'm going to start with you, Roogle. Do you think?
Start with me.
Because I want to start with you, a male. and he's a male too, but an adult male. Do you think it's okay for a man to make a decision about a female's body and what she should be doing? Yes or no?
Only if he's her doctor.
Okay. Takes us back to the vaccination. Period.
Or she's in a situation where she can't respond, but I'm taking that to the extreme.
Uh-huh.
I kind of feel like the argument for this is you got to think about how come it became legal. I don't think it was people saying we want to intentionally just be evil and do things that people think is wrong. I think it was a thing to where like you had a lot of people back in the day that were using wire hangers and all kinds of crazy stuff or whatever and dying and everything like that from that sort of thing. I kind of feel like it's one of those issues that nobody really. I don't think there's people that are saying, hey, we're for just killing, just for termination of life. I think the issue comes from how our society addresses the events that people go through. Mm-hmm. I don't when I see people that say they're pro-life, but they're pro-death, but they're pro-life meaning they're against abortion, but they're for the death penalty. They're not for health care. You know what I mean? They're not for universal
things that's
healthcare.
Killing us, right?
They're not for food programs for people and all this other stuff. Like being pro-life to me is being pro the spectrum of life, not just that one event. And the thing is, I don't think that people make a decision to go through that process lightly. And so every time I've talked about it, I've always talked about, well, what is the thing that's stopping that person from doing whatever they want to? And a lot of times it boils down to like hopelessness, no direction, no perceived help, or stigma because, I'm from this family or, this religion or whatever it is and all that kind of stuff. And it becomes one of those things where people, and I'm not saying everybody, but from what I've seen, that it's been people feeling like they will be condemned greater in this life than in the next, if that means anything. But it's just one of those decisions where I think that the law is what the law is now. We should honor people having that choice to do what they want to do. But we should also work in prevention is the key word for today, because if we can stop premature pregnancies, and it doesn't matter how old you are, if it's premature, if you don't want the child, it's a premature pregnancy. That if we could start having more prevention, then you stop those things. And when things do happen, how are we giving people hope and assistance and support through that period in their lives? Because it can be overwhelming.
I'm glad you said that when you and brought up the prevention again. I have to let some people know because for some unknown reason, my lovely younger people feel as though that they can't get coronavirus as long as they have a mask on, but they won't use any protection. Hello, you can pass it. Yeah. No mask. We ain't kissing, but we can bump uglies. Like what we all do here. You can contract it having sex as well. It enters in through the mucous membrane, and we know the vagina has a mucous membrane. So, and the anus. So, whoever you with or what you're doing, just please protect yourself at all times because we don't need to spread any of this, and especially if you're not trying to reproduce and have children. All right, Nick. Are you okay with somebody making a decision for you? That's what I should have asked.
No, unless I'm incapacitated.
Okay. What about you, Tamron? Are you okay? And I know not with that. You won't be giving birth. But how do you feel about that? Do you think a man should be able to tell you what you should be doing?
I'm not okay with a man telling a woman how she should do with her body or if
what she should do. Mm-hmm.
It's mainly her decision at the end of the day because she's the one with the child in her stomach or wherever. I just believe that no one should tell her what she should do unless it's the right thing. And like, Roogle said, if it's her doctor,
life-threatening or something like that.
Right.
Okay. Even though we know that abortions are life-threatening, so it's a surgery. We don't know if it'll, what the outcome will be. My thoughts, I looked at the picture overall, and I just have a problem even with like vaccinations. Even when they say vaccinate, your babies, I want you to vaccinate your babies. The flu vaccine, I am made to get the flu vaccine. And the reason I feel like I'm made to, I do have a choice, but I won't work. So they're like, oh, you have to have the flu vaccine in order to work in this environment or to work. And in medical field, it's the environment. So you want me to be protected. And what if I don't believe in it? What if I'm not okay with it? You know what I mean? But let me say this too. Immunizations, if it's for religious purposes, you don't have to get it done, but you won't be working. And it's just like with this vaccine that's coming up right now with the COVID-19 they have. And they're pretty much telling you if you have pre-existing illnesses that you need to get this vaccine. So it's like you're making people take this vaccine, and piggyback off of what Roogle said. You're making people take this vaccine, but then you want to cancel the health care. Huh? Like, wait a second. What do you want? Is it population control? Like, help me here. Go ahead.
Well, because one of the issues that's coming out is that we don't know the effects of this virus, of this COVID.
Right. And the first people to take it is people who have pre-existing illnesses
and
elderly people who are immunocompromised. And you want those people to be the first to get it done, and you don't even know the outcome.
Well, the other thing is that when you talk about them eliminating the Affordable Health Care Act, there's also pre-existing conditions. And if 7 million people have caught COVID in America, that may be perceived as a pre-existing condition because we don't know the long-term effects.
What about the people that are allergic to, just like people that are allergic to the flu vaccine? If they're allergic to dairy, flu vaccine has eggs.
Whatever is
My
in
mom
it, yeah.
never take the flu vaccine because she's allergic to dairy. Or the people that may be allergic to whatever they're putting in this COVID vaccine. So how are you trying to make anybody take anything? It might compromise their health even more to take said vaccine. So it's like there's so many different issues that really need to be worked out. That is just, I'm not.
You heard what I said, right? What did I say? Is it population control?
Exactly.
Like, come on here. Help us out some type of way. All right, let's do the Shop Talk question of the week because we're running out of time. Shop Talk question of the week. Are you okay with a work, I'm using air quotes, work husband or wife? And these are for my people that are in relationships. Let me start with Tamron. Are you okay with your girlfriend saying she got a work husband?
No, I'm definitely not okay with that.
Okay, now there's somebody that's not married. Now I got the two married people at the bottom. Nick. Are you okay with your husband saying this is his work way?
Is he okay being put 6 feet under?
Okay, we got that answer. Look, she ain't being bullied no more. We know that. Roogle, are you okay with your wife saying that that's my work husband? Or is she okay? Do you think that she'll be okay with you saying your work wife?
And that is funny. Like, I've been called that, not a work wife, but the opposite.
Uh-huh.
Of that. But the funny part about it, I think it's very harmless. It's meant to be harmless. It's not.
Is it?
Yeah, because it ain't like people having weddings at work or consummating a relationship or whatever.
At whose job? At whose job?
I'm just saying, like think about it like this. Whenever you hear about somebody having a relationship with somebody at work, is it the person that they accuse them of having a work husband or wife with? No, it's somebody else.
A lot of the times, a lot of them situations, that's how they started out.
No, I don't.
Okay, I took a poll.
That's how they started out. A lot of situations.
I took a poll, and I surveyed 100 people. And guess what? This is nuts because it's split half and half. 50% said they're okay with a work spouse, wife or husband, to play a game. And they said just what Roogle said. It's harmless. And the other 50% said almost what Nick said. And one said, is he okay with paying half the bills? That one was funny. I said, he said, if he okay with paying half the bills, then I'm okay with her having another work husband. Having a work husband.
Maybe he paying for the lunch bill.
But see, and now I'm with Nick. So you gotta, once you start, that's my work husband, that's my work wife, and now you're feeding them. Then you get the borrowing. They'll be like, I got lunch tomorrow. Or I need, you start listening, that listening ear.
But people don't, like, when I
then they go together. They in a relationship.
But when I've been called those things, it's not like I did something to, like, it's not like I reciprocated it and said, yeah, that's my work wife.
They chose you.
I don't see that. The funny part about that is that I've never seen that situation be reciprocated. Like like the people declare themselves a work marriage couple or whatever. I've never seen that. I've always seen it from the one perspective of like somebody might say, "Oh, they get along so well. That's her work husband."
Okay, let me say this.
That. Never like oh.
So you never seen it cross the line.
Yeah, it's not like people are saying, "I do wed thee as long as I have this job," and we have to have so many lunches.
They be like, "I do sleep with thee as long as I have this job, and you can't sleep with nobody else." Okay. And my spouse is okay. My spouse is okay because she know about the person or he know about the person. What about the young lady that you bought a gift, you bought a dress for? You remember that?
Yeah, me and my wife bought a dress for the lady.
I like that. Me and my wife. Now, she could have taken that a different way. A female could have taken that if you and your wife didn't, and did your wife present it?
Yeah.
See?
We were...
That was the thing. So that's cool. I wanted to bring that up because you have people who bring gifts. And what's an appropriate gift to bring the opposite sex? Me personally, if a guy brought me a dress, I'd be like, what he see me as? You know what I mean? He must see me out. You know what I mean?
The thing, okay, now when we talk about a dress, the issue was, in my situation, it was an African robe that
in his situation, his wife sells apparel.
Yeah.
So that was the difference. Roogle did not go out to the mall and go buy this dress that he thought this young, lovely lady would look fabulous in.
I didn't ask her what her size was or none of that kind of stuff.
And see, that's what I would be thinking. How he know my size? That means he looking at me.
Our company had a Christmas party and we did a gift exchange.
Right.
And this person was she was not my work wife. She was not my work wife.
But you say, Mel, don't be starting no mess. Go ahead.
She was a really good colleague, right?
Okay.
And so the thing is, I've always been a person where I've always bought a little bit more than what let's say if they say, oh, the limit is 20, I might spend 40, right? Like I'm always buying like a
pick
little
my
bit,
name.
like. And not that because the thing is sometimes you just get that person where you like, oh, that's my homie. I'm hooking them up. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like I had a coworker that I bought a Pittsburgh Steelers jacket for.
How come I wasn't a coworker?
And, what's that? No, you wasn't my coworker. but she was real cool. I probably spent about $50 on that jacket. You know what I'm saying? But she had been real cool. And then this dress, and actually I had a coworker at the same job. I bought a Browns jacket for when it was the year prior. But this person, it was like she was into the dresses and stuff like that. She was asking, so I was like, well, what can we do so we gave her a really nice dress.
Okay.
More than what the limit was. I think the limit might have been like $40, and it was more than that. But
y'all got a $40 gift exchange? I ain't entering into that.
Well, the thing is, I was feeling the spirit. Things was going well. You give a little bit, right?
He said 3 key words. holiday gift exchange, colleague, and we, as in me and my wife, and she presented it.
Right.
So actually 4 key words.
So he good.
That's different.
Crazy.
That's different.
You know what I mean? I ain't crazy, you know.
Exactly. So that's different.
Yeah. So it's like, hey, this is a gift from me and my wife, and everybody knew that she sold dresses and stuff. It wasn't like, but I will tell you this though, my wife got a gift from somebody
at your job, at her job.
Yeah, at her job. It wasn't a coworker. Somebody actually, it's funny. Somebody actually bought her a dress and some pants and stuff. Man.
A whole outfit.
Hey, listen. I was like, I just like, well, because at first the person gave her face mask, and I was like, well, that's okay. It's a little, And then they came back because she said something like, "It's our anniversary," and the person said, "Well, I'm gonna get you a gift."
Wait, for whose anniversary?
Our anniversary.
Wait.
And they bought her.
Wait
a minute. They bought her a gift for you and her wedding anniversary. Okay, go ahead.
When they first said it, when she first said it to me, I was thinking, well, maybe they're just gonna get her like a card or whatever, blah blah. And then she showed me the stuff, and I was like, first of all, you can't accept this just because it's an inappropriate gift. Not to mention it was jacked up. I ain't gonna even lie to you, man.
So you told her no?
I was like, how big did the person think you is? It looked like something he done ran into like the mother of the church's closet and just grabbed the first thing he seen on a hanger.
Did somebody pass away and you be like, oh, this is a nice outfit?
I'm like, what the hell? I was like But the thing was, it was an inappropriate gift because it's just inappropriate, right? And it's so funny because she's tried to take the stuff back to the person, but they've never come back. They dropped it off and like disappeared.
Oh, well, she probably should give it to like a Goodwill, donate it.
This was the thing. They dropped it off on a day that she wasn't at work. So when she came to work, they was like, "This is for somebody dropped this off for you."
That is.
So it wasn't like she just accepted it. You know what I mean? Like the person gave it to her. She was like, "Oh yeah, I'll take it."
But I don't understand why they presented her with a gift on you guys' anniversary. I'm so shocked.
Hey, because these dudes be trying to get it, man. They want it.
Exactly.
The WAP.
Hey, it cracked me up, man. Like the stuff she be telling me, it had me dying. But it's like, but the thing is like this. It's better to me. I'm not a jealous person, so it's like, hey, if that's what you want, go after it. You know what I'm saying? I ain't jealous like that, and I damn sure ain't intimidated by anybody, especially in that particular department. So I laugh, or whatever. But I also, to be a little serious about it though, I do sometimes fear for her because I don't know these people's intention. You know what I mean? I know what their intention is, but I don't know how far they would take their intent. Right.
That's what I was getting ready to go at. Yeah. So now you got to make appearances.
Nah, I ain't making no appearance.
You need to make an appearance. You need to take food down there. Let them know that she has somebody that's in her corner. Thank you. I appreciate you. We like to feel appreciated.
Right thing.
Some flowers. Listen, some flowers. We need flowers. We need, if our guys send lunch or bring lunch, you ain't got to come every day. But if you make your presence known and let us know that we have somebody, and it causes the other people that's around that's fencing us in, they'll cog block, because if somebody likes the individual, they'll be like, oh, her husband, he might come down here. And then that'll be safe too, because no one knows when her husband is coming.
Yeah. But the thing is that the level of thirst, it doesn't even matter. Like if
it don't matter about you, the level of thirst don't matter.
The thirst level, I mean, they ain't a sprite big enough to quench that thirst. You know what I mean?
Nowadays, he ain't even lying.
I'm telling you, man, these dudes don't care, man. And then
they sure don't.
The chicks don't care either.
I mean, exactly.
Hey,
thirsty.
Thirst.
Thirsty
the thirst is real. It's the Sahara out here, yo.
It's the Sahara. You hear Nick talk about some thirsty thoughts. Hey, lovely people, that is my time. Let me give you today's footnote. Trust is the union of intelligence and integrity. So make decisions wisely and make sure that you trust the individual with whom you're making a decision for. There you go. All right, lovely people, that is my time. I thoroughly enjoyed you as I do each and every single Saturday. Find you, embrace you. Most importantly, that is not the fly. You got the fly? Listen, to the listening audience, you can't see this because we're on the Zoom due to social distancing. He is swatting the fly. Roogle got a fly over there. It's not landing on your head, though.
On me.
It didn't land on you. I see you swatting. Let me do this right. Again, y'all play too much, man. I love the show. Find you, embrace you. Most importantly, always, always love you. Until next week, people. Shop time.